Hey, what's going on, guys? It's One World, aka Tim, and I'm going to be talking about the in-season tournament final last night, which was the Bucks versus the Thunder. The Bucks ended up getting the W. Giannis and Dame looked really scary together. Giannis had a lot of points, shot pretty efficiently. He had 26 points, 53% shooting from the field, shooting 6 for 11 from free throws. He had some questionable shots, like some mid-range jumpers, but he did make a tough one. And yeah, obviously you can't complain, shooting 53%, but he almost had a 30-20 game, which is crazy. But yeah, he had 19 boards, 10 assists, and then Dame added 23 points. And then he had a really good game from three, shooting 50%. And then Brook Lopez had a solid game as well. And AJ Green off the bench hit a crazy fadeaway like corner three, and just played a good game. And then for the Thunder, SGA led the team in scoring with 21 points, but his shot was definitely off. Not his typical self, from what I'm hearing. Shooting 38% from the field, 22% from three, but he did have a pretty good night defensively with two steals. Yeah, and then J Dub was their number two man that game, and he had 18, shooting 40% from the field, but only 25% from three. But the Thunder on offense, they look good. They just weren't hitting their shots, especially when they needed to really be hitting in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter was really where the Bucks started to pull away. They just couldn't make shots. So it's kind of a tough break, but I don't think they have anything to like fix. I think they just had a bad night shooting. They had tenacious defense all game. Uh, that really like helped. Giannis was just too much for them to handle, especially with Chet Holmgren out. That really hurts them not having that rim protection. They had Lou Dort on him for a little bit. Before that, they had J Dub on him, and Lou Dort's a great defender. J Dub didn't do a bad job, but he's just too strong for both of them. And yeah, I mean he was. I don't know if Hartenstein could even guard him, but yeah, I mean, speaking of Hartenstein, uh, he had a good game. He had good touch around the basket, I'm assuming like he usually does. Had some good passes. Only had two assists, but I feel like his passing was more impactful than that would lead you to believe. But yeah, the Thunder's poor shooting just caught up to them, and yeah, and then Dame just is really seems like the perfect complement to Giannis. And yeah, just showing why he's an eight-time All Star, hitting timely threes again, shooting 50% from three, and for the first half was when Dame really shined, and I feel like this took pressure off Giannis offensively. And so then, like into the third quarter and the fourth quarter, Giannis could really take over offensively down the stretch, just close out the game. That way, he didn't have to do as much on offense because he really is a menace on defense. He had two blocks, and just yeah, he gives his all, like offense and defense, no plays off. And then yeah, definitely the defining statistic was field goal percentage. Oklahoma City only shooting 34% as a team, and just like horrendous from three, shooting 16%. Then on the other hand, Milwaukee shot 42% from the field and 43% from three. So, I mean, they just were hitting their shots. They were off to a slow start, uh, like they mentioned in the end in the interviews. But yeah, they did, turn it on, and the Thunder got cold as the Bucks were heating up, and so the Bucks also moved the ball better. They had 12 more assists than the Thunder, and as I already mentioned, like the Thunder did have good defense, forcing 19 turnovers, but they weren't able to stop Giannis when it really counted, and so that's really what lost in the game is that their defense was good, but it couldn't compensate for their lack of offense. And as Mike Breen said at the end, the Bucks put on a clinic defensively, and it was kind of overshadowed to me by Oklahoma City's defense and just how good the Bucks were on offense. But I mean, the shooting, a lot of the shooting, I feel like was just Oklahoma City's shooters missing. But I mean, the defense obviously has a lot to do with that as well. And it was a game of two halves for sure. It was anyone's game at halftime and anyone's game until the start of the fourth quarter. But the Bucks did outscore the Thunder significantly in the third quarter and ended up outscoring the Thunder by 15 in the second half. They were up by 20 at one point. They didn't end up winning by 20, but I think they won by 16, so pretty close. And it was a really keen observation by the commentators at the beginning. Mike Breen and Reggie Miller, they mentioned that it was like speed versus strength. Speed being the Thunder, strength being the Bucks. You could definitely see that as Giannis had a huge impact on the game, defense, offense, and yeah, his defense and offense down the stretch really helped seal the game for the Bucks. And he's just so strong. Like there was one play he like drove through Hardenstein and sent him down, and Hartenstein's like their biggest dude. So he kind of just he's just I mean he's we know how good Giannis is. He showed why he's an MVP. I think he won Finals MVP that year, and yeah, I mean Doc Rivers. It's good to see him finally get a win. You know he gets a lot of hate for, you know, but yeah, he said like together we win. He mentioned that slogan, and they really did it. You know, it sounds kind of corny, but I mean you could see that. You know, they played. It was a total team effort. You know, obviously led by Giannis and Dame, but yeah, Dame mentioned in his interview like being together and said that that's the only way to overcome the slow start they had. And he kind of mentioned how like staying together, continuing to push through, like when you're off to a slow start, helps to gain experience as a team, which is very insightful. You know, he's a veteran, you know, so he's a really good addition to the team. And Malika Andrews asked Dame about their game plan against SGA. Dame said they were, quote, physical and closed out, end quote. And we saw that, you know, as they closed the game down the stretch. And it's definitely, a big win. The Bucks, I think, were playing with a chip on their shoulder. And I think this because Dame was talking about in the interview how people were talking about the team that they weren't. And so it seemed like it was definitely personal. And so it was the game itself was a good game. Competitive until about like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And yeah, they played hard. And just to talk about like the in-season tournament final in general, I really liked the venue. Like it was in Vegas. The court design was nice. They had like blue light on the crowd, which I feel like was a nice touch. And then it was a very exciting atmosphere. You know, each player on the Bucks since they won gets about $500K in prize money, and that's big money for the younger players. And as Dame said, that's life-changing money. And then the trophy ceremony was well done. They had kids from the YMCA like give medals to the players, and that was just cool to see. The trophy was designed well. The confetti added to the exciting atmosphere of what was really just a great game. And the in-season tournament was a really great idea by Adam Silver, and it was really cool seeing Doc get the win. So yeah, I mean he gets a lot of hate, and he said the Bucks needed time to gel, and we saw that tonight, and that's really scary for the rest of the league because it's going to be tough for other teams to stop that. And Adam Silver himself, said OKC had an incredible run, which they did, but it just wasn't enough to overcome Giannis and the Bucks as the Bucks continue their hot streak as of late. And so unsurprisingly, Giannis won Cup MVP, and as Giannis said, the job's not done. That echoes of Kobe Bryant there, and Giannis was focused throughout the whole game, and he said his chemistry with Dame is the best it's ever been. So I mean, man, if that's not at the full chemistry, I mean that's bad news for the rest of the league because man, they're gonna be a tough team to beat come April and May. So it was a great game. Competitive pretty much throughout, and I'm excited to see the in-season tournament next year, and that's about all I got. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.